Hi guys, how's it going? It's Barry. This is blog number 20 of MYVIRGINKITCHEN.com. Today we're going to be cooking some little biscuits called Florentines. There they are. I didn't even try and draw them because I don't even know how to start doing that. But Florentines to me sounds very posh, like British, so I'm going to drink it with my cup of tea. Florentines and tea, lovely jubbly. Yes. Anyway, so what you need is 50 grams of almonds, 50 grams of sugar, block of chocolate, and I've had a little bit out of that just to make sure it's all good. You need 50 grams of peel. There's 200 grams in there, but I'm going to take a bit out of that soon. 50 grams of cherries. There's 200 in there as well, so we're going to break that up, as I say. Honey, you need 2 teaspoons of that. You need some butter, and also there is some flour in there. I think you can just about see it. I should have used a black bowl really, but never mind. I guess it's kind of like drawing a snowman on paper and saying it's there, but it's not really there. Anyway, you also need a tin line it with baking paper, which looks a lot like tracing paper. So if you have any spare, you could start doing drawings around your kitchen or something like that of random stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is heat up some of the ingredients. So I'm going to get cracked on with that. I want to say thank you again to Threadless for sending me this t-shirt. This one's called The Food Chain, which actually has all the different stages of the food chain in it, so I recommend you check that one out. So thanks Threadless yet again. So yeah, let's crack on and get this one going. Woo! Okie doke, so I've just cut out my baking tray sheet like that. As you can see, I can't cut very straight. I am left-handed. I don't know if that's a hindrance. I haven't greased it underneath. I've just literally got the sheet of paper there, and I've got plenty left over to make loads of funky shapes if I want to. So that's done. What we want to do now is put on a pan. I put the butter in there already. Now get your sugar. Put the sugar in. And your 2 teaspoons of honey in there. Cool. Just going to turn that down a little bit. So you need to heat that and keep stirring, okay? So you can see that in there. Just keep stirring that. Okay, so you just keep stirring that. That's literally only been like 30 seconds, about the same time it takes to give your nose a good blow. And you just keep stirring it until all the sugar's dissolved, like it has, pretty much like that. You don't want to overheat it, otherwise apparently it'll caramelise and it'll ruin the pan. And so far, since doing these videos, I've only ruined 2 pans and I've reimbursed them, so all good. So make sure you don't burn the pan. Take this off the heat, which I'm about to do any minute now. Okay. Keeping up with me so far? I hope you are. I know this is a tricky one. Anyway, while you are waiting, you've got to let this cool down. As you can see, that's quite a cool little consistency there. While you're waiting for that to sort of cool down to room temperature, which is kind of like the temperature around the rest of the room, so like over here, we want the ingredients in the pan to be like that sort of temperature. Anyway, they're too hot because it's been on the heat. Why don't you make a little baking sheet, man? This is my man Percy that I made. Will you spare baking paper? You can scatter them along the wall or make wallpaper or something funky like that. So anyway, what we're going to do is let that cool down, and then we're going to chuck all the ingredients in and get our hands stuck in then. So it's going to be cool. Woo! Okay, so you've got the choice of either doing your baking tray shapes there, or, well, what you could do both. What I did was I took my stuff out of the pan and into a mixing bowl, because we're going to add some flour and the cherries and the other bits and bobs in there. One thing I would actually say about the pan as well is you've got to get rid of that sugar as soon as you can, because it's really, really hard to get rid of, almost to the extent of like a supermodel trying to get rid of someone with a restraining order. It's really tough. So I've put some hot water in there to try and break it down a bit. And also, I hope I've done it right, but this looks a little bit rock solid. But anyway, what you've got to do now is get your fruit bits, chuck them in, and your cherries, chuck them in as well, and your flour, and also your nuts or your almonds, and then you're going to get your hands in and get stuck in. Alright, so I'm not going to do that with the camera, otherwise I was going to break it, but I'm going to do that now. Alright, so Becky's kindly taking hold of the camera because my hands are coated. If you look at that, it looks a little bit like something you'd give your rabbit, but it was a little bit dry and floury, so I shoved some more honey in it to make it like bond. Now it's like paste anyway. So you got to roll them up into like little mounds like that, and place them on your tray and your sheet, and then push it down a teeny bit, and then you're going to get spread those out, put about 9 of them on there, and shove them in a preheated oven at gas mark 4. That's going to be for about 7 minutes, and we'll see how they turn out. Woo! I've definitely made a mistake somewhere. This recipe is supposed to make 24 of the Florentines, but I've actually managed to get 8 on my sheet there. But it does say to make small mounds, but I seem to make almost like beef burger shapes there anyway. We've got quite a small family anyway, so 8 will be enough for the 3 of us. So maybe try yours a bit smaller, but we'll see how these come out. So I'm going to just shove those in the oven now. That's preheated to gas mark 4. Oh, I knocked one as I did that. There we go. Put that one back. Alright, that's going in there. Put that in there for 7 to 8 minutes until they apparently flatten out a little bit and get golden. Right, that's been long enough, so let's get them out the oven. Oh wow, okay. Right. Not looking the best. In fact, that looks a little bit like a pizza protest. But anyway, let's plod on. I'm going to let them cool down for 5 minutes, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to get some chocolate there in my jar and melt it up. Cool. Okay, so the Florentines, I put them onto a little cooling tray thing. Sorry, a wire rack. I didn't even realise we had a wire rack, but that's actually just from the grill, so I just whipped out of that. And they're all on there cooling down. They're not too bad. They're pretty big, but they've cooled down a teeny bit. So what you got to do is turn them over so the flat side is facing up. So I'm going to do that. But one thing quite funny just happened. You know how you sometimes get loads of dodgy chocolates and presents you don't really need for Christmas? Well, we just found a box of Florentines actually in the kitchen that they have been opened actually. So a Florentine is supposed to look like that. Let's just put it against mine. Right, you can see the size difference there, so you can see why it was supposed to be for 24. I made mine a teeny bit too big, but we'll keep going. So anyhow, yeah, flip them all over so your flat side's facing up, and then get your melted chocolate in a minute and pour on a layer. So go over it once and then let it cool down, okay? Right, I've finished putting chocolate on them now. As you can see, they're all nicely glazed. I'm going to put them in the fridge to set now, and then after that they can be eaten. I've got a bit of leftover chocolate, and Becky's actually nicked the jar. So she's tucking in there. So if you have any leftovers, share it in that, or you can eat it all to yourself. So put these in the fridge and then eat them. Right, so that's been just over 20 minutes, and the chocolate's had time to set in the fridge. So let's get it out. Boom, boom, boom. I did put a baking tray underneath it, just so that while the chocolate was cooling, it would catch it to prevent it getting chocolate over my fridge. So let's put one next to the other. So that's the one I made, and that's what you get in a packet. So as you can see, I made them a little bit too big, but let's try it anyway. Let's give it a bite. Wow, crunchy, not too bad. Probably needs a bit of work, but on the whole, not a bad attempt, and we'll see how it goes next time. See you again.